Hey everyone, Chris here with another filler video to let you guys know about some various things going on. But primarily, what I wanted to do with this video was elevate the priority of my music update, so that I'd actually get it done. I've been extremely busy with other things and haven't had the time to squeeze it in while still doing the regular ADG videos. So to that end, I have now uploaded 61 of the musical compositions I've created over the years to my website. This includes variants and remixes of some of my own music to help demonstrate how my skills have evolved, as well as a couple remixes of tunes from other games which I felt challenged to do for various reasons. Specifically, a Game Boy style remix of Divine Bloodline from the Castlevania series, and a remix of the Pokemon Red Blue Gym Leader battle theme done in my own personal style. To check out this music, you can simply download it from my website at http://www.pixelships.com/misc/music.html. What you're actually seeing on screen right now is Impulse Tracker, a very old DOS-based music tracker made by Jeffrey Lim in the mid-90s. A music tracker is a type of music creation program originally conceived for Amiga computers, where instead of laying out notes on a keyboard roll or as raw data, you have tracks for each individual sound channel, divided into beats and steps, and you place your note commands along these tracks, along with instrument sample numbers which reference digitized waveforms, volume levels, and special commands to alter the way these samples are played, allowing for some impressive music to come out of computers at a time when memory and hardware limitations mostly prevented music from being this complex. This spawned the original mod file format, limited to 4 simultaneous audio channels producing mono sound from each, and support for 8-bit sample data. This rapidly led to the creation of additional formats on other systems outside of the Amiga's audio limitations, such as Multi-Tracker MTMs, Scream Tracker S3Ms, Fast Tracker XMs, and ultimately Impulse Tracker ITs, arguably one of the most feature-complete formats, though it should be noted that there's a few things Fast Tracker can do that Impulse Tracker can't, and vice versa. And even for a time after Fast Tracker hit the scene, many people preferred Scream Tracker simply because it was far simpler to use. Even now, lots of people still use these music tracking programs, or modern equivalents, because of the raw power behind them and their free-to-use nature. I use Impulse Tracker exclusively because I prefer its interface, simplicity, and features over those of Fast Tracker and even modern tracking programs. Plus, the audio libraries I use for making my games are specifically made to play back original Impulse Tracker files, not Impulse Tracker files made with modern tracking programs. See, there's this little thing that was created a long while back to bridge the gap between module music and modern operating systems and allow the playback of module music in web browsers. It's called ModPlug, and most module music plays back fine with it. However, because Impulse Tracker wasn't being actively maintained, its IT file format was eventually modified by other people, adding more features to it but changing existing features to work slightly differently than before. And ModPlug's design ultimately wound up working best with these newer alterations to the IT file format, rather than with files made with the original program. And no, there's no easy way to tell the two formats apart. When this was going on, there was a lot of heated arguments all across the board in relation to this, which I believe is a part of what led to the audio libraries I use being designed to work with original IT files and not IT files made with modern trackers. Ultimately, these audio libraries were adopted directly into Allegro 5, the game programming libraries I use now. So now it's kind of a moot point. If I want Impulse Tracker music in my game, I gotta make sure it sounds right in the real Impulse Tracker, so I might as well make it in there too. Now, most people aren't going to have the necessary software to play back IT music files directly, so all the uploads to my website are in MP3 format for the convenience of everyone. There's multiple reasons why I don't just use MP3s in my games, but the biggest reason is that it's a lot harder to make MP3 music repeat properly, since a lot of game music relies on being able to repeat over and over again between two specific points. But the MP3 format isn't designed for this kind of specialized repeating, so you need to hack together special tricks to make this work. There's a couple other advantages to going with Impulse Tracker files as well. They're a lot smaller since it's literally building the music from notes and sample data as it plays it back, whereas MP3s are just compressed waveforms of entire songs, being upwards of 50 times larger in file size. Plus, MP3s are lossy, meaning some of the high-frequency subtleties of the music in an MP3 file are lost, whereas Impulse Tracker compression of sample data is lossless. I've also separated the music selection on my website in several ways, one of which is what I refer to as my quote-unquote experience level in making music, which is completely relative and something that I simply increase every time the quality of my music makes a quantifiable leap. Presently, my experience level is 8, but you're going to notice that I haven't really uploaded anything beyond experience level 7. This is because virtually everything I've made recently is going to make its debut in Vector Zone, the game I'm presently working on. Plus, I kinda went up to level 8 while many of my level 7 tunes were still being worked on, so they too have received a jump in quality. I also have absolutely nothing from my first experience level on my website for the simple reason that I don't want to kill your ears. Trust me, a lot of the music I made when I was still new at this in the late 90s is pretty much intolerable. Anywho, that's all there is to say about the music update. Now, onto a few little things that have cropped up over the past few months. Firstly, I primarily use a new Windows 8 computer now, and in making this upgrade, I've discovered a couple of things. One of which is that most of the games I've made, which are presently available on my website, simply don't work nicely in Windows 8 due to its lack of proper DirectX support for anything pre-DX9, not to mention its lack of 16-bit color support. And if you can get one of my games working in Windows 8, then great, but I highly recommend trying the free versions of my software first on Windows 8 before purchasing any of it. Remember, it was all originally made for Windows 98, so the fact that any of it still works with Windows Vista and 7 is fortunate enough, really. Vector Zone's being made using OpenGL hardware acceleration, and my testing shows that it works perfectly fine with anything Windows XP or greater, including Windows 8, so there's no worries there. Another thing this transition has made apparent is that DOSBox, Windows 8, vertical retrace synchronization, and cycle settings of max or auto all combine to create a situation where games played back in DOSBox don't seem to want to run at the correct speed or frame rate. And this actually affected some of my DOSBox configuration recommendations in a few of my recent ADG videos. The weak link though is not so much Windows 8, but the V-syncing. So for all of you who run DOSBox, I highly recommend going into your graphics driver settings for your operating system and setting up a program-specific setting so that when DOSBox is run, vertical syncing is turned off. The effects of this should be mostly positive, since the vast majority of DOS games simply don't run faster than 35 frames a second. Heck, most are less than that. And even those games which do have vertical synchronization are typically syncing to 70 frames a second, not the 60 that the majority of LCD and LED monitors are limited to nowadays. So adding additional V-syncing on top of that is just pointless, really. As for links to my new YouTube channel, those will be going up soon. I've mostly been uploading old episodes and monitoring my YouTube status to ensure stupid things don't happen, because they kinda do happening. And I want to make sure the channel's status is nice and stable before I start spending hours on end adding the appropriate links to the hundreds of pages on my website. It's just a matter of me not wanting to waste time, that's all. Also planning to do some YouTube exclusive videos soon, which don't fall into the regular ADG pattern of episodes, but that won't be until I have the proper links going here on my website, so no worries there. I also believe I'm finally climbing out of the design hell Vector Zone's been in. The latest design work I've been doing has been extremely solid and well balanced, plus the new graphical design is a lot cleaner and simpler, and fits in with the vector line approach better. So I'll be adding more information about the state of Vector Zone on my website very soon, with a new public alpha to follow in a couple weeks to a couple months, depending on how long it takes to rewrite the thousands of lines of code that need to be rewritten. So yeah, lots of little things I couldn't really dedicate an entire filler to, but now that they're out of the way, all that's left is to give you guys the hint for episode 121 of Ancient DOS Games, coming out on Saturday, September 7th. Basically, I'm covering a game that's like Elite, but not Elite. And since I've already done Line Wars, that doesn't really leave a lot of choices, so make sure you send your guess as soon as you can to adg@pixelships.com and stay tuned as there's lots more to come.